Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
This is really the truth. Give a man a fish, and he eats for a day. However, give a man a welfare check, a free cell phone, food stamps, Section 8 housing, a six-pack of beer, marijuana, and some Air Jordans, and he'll vote Democratic the rest of his life. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Oh, it's a Monday. Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor of our program, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Great Big Spring Tire Sale going on right now. And don't forget, too, that some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service, get rid of your garbage. Locally owned and operated, call them 734-6969. And, of course, our friends at Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. I understand that we already have a pledger on the line. Good morning, and please give us the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir.
Turbulent cheer, I am ready.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Absolutely great, and we're going to be talking about the birthday party in just a few minutes. Thank you for your help in that last Thursday, and we appreciate your call. You betcha. God bless. Have a good day. It's time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. I got to get all my papers out here. They've got another girls' night out coming up on May 1st, this Friday. Don't forget that, as I'm trying to find my paper. Oh, my goodness. You know, we had a little bit of a wreck here on my desk. There it is. As I got in a hurry to get ready for the program this morning, I covered some things up, and then naturally when something's covered up on this desk, it's gone forever. May 1st, this Friday night, girls' night out. They're going to have all kinds of craft ideas, don't forget, and also through the month of April, which is coming to a screeching halt, they're going to have 30% off commercial carpet all the way through the end of this month through Thursday. So check it out at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Number to call, 678-6945. Right now, here is Michael Rogers' weather.
You've got a nice week of weather with temperatures in the 60s for today. By the time you get to the end of the week, it's going to be in the low to mid-70s, sunny all week long. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, next week I will be in the state of Idaho, in the Magic Valley, South Central Idaho, for the first time in quite a while. I'm offering my photography services to you in the form of portraits, headshots, and with Mother's Day coming up, a nice family portrait for Mom. I can do that for you while I'm there. I'll be there from Tuesday, May 4th for the entire week. You can get up with me on my Facebook page, or you can contact Zeb Bell, but I would love to shoot some photography for you while I'm there to see my son, and the reason why I'm coming up is that we're going to watch the new Avengers movie. So, if you have photography work, give me a holler. Otherwise, you got a nice week of weather, and enjoy it. It's the only weather you got.
All right, Michael, look forward to seeing you, buddy. Thank you very much. And the weather, of course, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. These are really good folks for all your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, whatever you need to make your house a home. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Again, Look for the blue door. Say, before we get into the swing of things this morning, I want to remind you, and this is really going to be a neat deal. The National Pioneer Hall of Fame is going to present the Pioneer Farm Days Friday, May 8th and Saturday, May 9th from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon at 950 East in Declo. This is a really great event to really understand and rediscover what our past was like, leading us into modern day and also looking to the future. This is going to be a lot of fun, so put it on your calendar on May 8th and 9th out there at the Pioneer Farm Days at 950 East of Declo. A great event for everybody, I'll guarantee you that. Hey, Daryl's Cleaners, I want to remind you that they are simply the best at what they do. And if you've got something that's maybe old and been in the attic for a long time, and you're not sure what to do with it, and it looks like it's all rimply and crimply and crumply and everything, take it into Kevin. That man is a genius when it comes to the restoration of items. Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Kevin and Cindy, the whole crew, and I'll guarantee you that they can make anything look really brand spanking new. Check it out. Daryl's Cleaners in Burley, the best. And when we're talking about the word the best, we also have to include SafeLink Internet. You know, these folks have been with us on this program for a long time. And also, they've been here in our studio office for a long time, providing us with the best in Internet service. And the first month is free with free installation, no contracts, no credit checks, unlimited data. You give them a call at 677-8000. Idaho's #1 choice for wireless Internet. SafeLink Internet, you give them a call, 677-8000. They'll visit with you today. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Doug, I am so glad you called because I owe you an apology, and if you'll call me after the program, I'll extend that apology. But thank you, good morning, and what can I do for you?
Oh, is the apology going to be a steak dinner, is it?
Not that much.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hey, have you noticed how many articles have been in our local rag about Hillary and her problems?
Well, yeah, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on this morning, about how now they're classifying this as a misstep and a mistake.
Well, the mistake part, they got that right.
No, they don't, because here's the deal, Doug. I disagree with you. It was not a mistake. It was a choice to do what they did. You're not going to have that many people involved with the Clintons. You're not going to have that many people involved with the foundation. You're not going to have that many smart people handling money that are going to make a mistake. That was a choice, not a mistake.
Well, yes, that's a better choice of words. Yeah. She messed up big time.
Yep.
She did not think forward very far, did she?
Well, really, yeah, she did. Again, we're going to disagree. I think this was a concentrated effort, and I'll come right out and say it, to dupe the public and take a lot of money. I'll give you a little quote. Hold on here just a second. I happen to be very prepared. Are you ready for this? It seems like, and this is a quote from one of the people as a watchdog from the government by the name of Bill Allison, a senior fellow at the government watchdog Sunlight Foundation, told the Washington Post, quote, "It seems like the Clinton Foundation operates as a slush fund for the Clintons." There you go, Doug.
This is true. I mean, if she wanted to be president, that's what I mean, and she didn't think very far ahead, she would have done things a lot different. But, I mean, they think they can do stuff, and it won't come public. When it does, it's just like water and oil. It won't mix.
Yeah, but Doug, they've done this ever since Arkansas.
They have. And I personally feel they should be indicted. And if they're found guilty, they should go to prison.
And now, right there, I want you to stop, because you and I are on the same page. I have been listening, and I tried to be fair about this and non-prejudicial. All weekend long, I kept turning the dial to other newscasts. And it surprised me that other networks are even having spokespeople get on there and say, you know what? This is criminal. They were taking money that shouldn't have been taken. They were using money that shouldn't have been used out of the foundation, and there could be very well jail time for not only Hillary, but gray-haired Bill.
Oh, yes. Well, look what they done to that gal that had that cooking show. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Prison for just one trade.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I hope, and I mean this when I say this, and I am sounding prejudiced on this, and I'm glad to. I hope this brings down Hillary Clinton and destroys any chance she has for the nomination from the Democratic Party.
Very true, very true. And, you know, the number of articles, back to my deal, is the number of articles that have been in the Times News concerning this is, I can count them on one hand. And that's if I got 4 fingers missing.
Yeah.
That I've read. And so I called and talked to the Times News. It's time for us conservatives, the people that pay their paycheck, to stand up and demand a better service. And I talked to them. They said, if you put it on vacation mode for 15 days, they extend your subscription out 15 days.
Yeah.
Less than 15 days, they don't. So if we can get by without seeing the Times News for a little over 2 weeks, if half of the subscribers was to call in and suspend it for 15 days, we wouldn't lose any money, but they would see the ripple effect.
You know, this is interesting that you called on this, Doug, because I know people, I'm not going to mention their names, but I know people, Deanne knows of people that have called and contacted us and said that they had stopped their paper or their subscription ran out, and the Times News got a hold of them and wanted to have them come back for a special low price, much lower than what I'm paying on a renewal rate, and that highly offends me.
Me too. But we need to stand up, because who pays the Times News paychecks? Who pays that editor? And who pays the people that have their opinions that voice it on the page?
Bingo.
Not showing both sides, just one side.
Bingo.
We do.
Well, it's been a thorn in my side for a long time with the very biased, liberalized. I'm going to just call it the way it is. I don't like the reporting. I don't like the naming of editor Matt Christensen. I remember Matt from years ago that he and I had a couple of tussles. And I just think that the paper needs a renovation, and it needs an appreciation of really the people that are here, reside here, and basically the gist of the politics that is, let's just say, in prominence here.
Exactly, and their scorecard on our senators.
Yeah, that really
that is total BS.
Well, you just touched on something I was going to talk about a little bit ago. The grading system of our state legislative body from this area. Everybody has a right to their opinion and everything, but it almost sounded a little phony to me that Maxine Bell of Jerome, a very nice lady, I know her, I like her, I appreciate her, and a lady that's not very effective in the legislature, Michelle Stannett, would get the B's, and everybody else got C's and D minuses. And I'm just wondering, it would be interesting to have everybody on this program grade the Times News, and then I'll turn those grades into Matt Christensen.
Great idea. Everybody sends you an email on how they grade the
send me.
How they represent the local people.
Yeah.
And both sides of the story. Not just one side, both sides.
There you go. Send those to Zeb at the Ranch. That's ZEBATTHERANCH. Then the @hotmail.com. And we'll grade the Times News. We'll kind of treat their fire with a lot of smoke. How's that?
Good going.
All right, Doug. God bless you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Got to pay some bills. Holy smokes. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Light bulbs, all kinds of light bulbs. They've got everything to keep you out of the dark. All the fluorescent lights and all the colors and sizes and the ballast and the repair parts and all the wire and the fuses, the cords. Everything you need is right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Great people at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open 7:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Hold on, caller. I'll be there in just a second. Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. And I got a little message that coming up in June, they're going to have another antique tractor show. So get a hold of them, and they're going to have trophies and prizes and everything for the Antique Tractor Show. That's going to be fantastic. Valley-wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, with all the 4-H needs, all the feed, all the equipment, everything, and 4-Hers get a 10% discount. And don't forget, too, they've got that great fishing display there with all the rods and the reels and the equipment. You can buy your license there and everything at Valley-wide Home and Ranch. Nice people. Mandy and Sean, the whole crew waiting to serve you. 910 South Oneida in Rupert, Valley-wide Home and Ranch. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This deal about Hillary and the nomination, I wonder how many people really realize that when they have their convention, this is not an election. It's a selection. So all she's got to do is get all these delegates in her pocket, and she's in.
Keith, you've been around for a long, long time now. Let's just assume that you're one of the newspaper reporters for either the Washington Post or the New York Times. And you're a conservative, and you're like a little fish in shark-infested waters. How would you report on... No, seriously, how would you report on Hillary Clinton? How could you possibly not look at this situation with graft, corruption, and illegalities? How could you not tear her apart and ask the Democrats to find somebody that's worthy of taking that nomination?
Well, first of all, if I were a reporter there, would I want to keep my job? Naturally, I would, but I don't think I kowtow to them like everybody else does.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Everybody, with Hillary Clinton, you live in fear, and if you think it's bad now, wait till she gets to be president.
You bring up a good point. Whether it's the Vince Foster scandals or other people or Hillary's temper and people that have been at the White House when she was the first lady with Bill. Maybe she wasn't the first lady with Bill, but that's another story. But anyway, the temper and the arrogance, the attitude. I do not want her anywhere close to the Oval Office as president.
Well, I don't think even Bill likes her. He just knows how smart and clever she is, and that she's exactly like him.
Yeah, they're two peas in a pod up to a point, but I'm really...
Even for the opposition.
Yeah, I agree. Keith, it's always good to hear from you, and thank you for being at Lunch Bunch the other day. We appreciate it.
Enjoyed every minute of it.
All right. God bless you, my friend. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Speaking of Lunch Bunch, I want to say a special little word here for Denny's Restaurant. I'm going to do that right after I give you this word. Aha, I fooled you. I thought I was going to go to Denny's. I'm going to go to Barry Equipment and Rental first and talk about Eli, Nick, and everybody. 3 locations serving you. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And they've got all the Bobcat excavators, skid steer loaders, compact track loaders. They got all the equipment that you need to really get the job done right. Everything for this spring cleanup, fix up, everything is right there at Barry Equipment and Rental. These are really good folks, and they've got great financing available for you. Please check it out today. Barry Equipment and Rental. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit here about Denny's Restaurant and what we did last Thursday. This is very, very important. Last Thursday, excuse me, I've got a little bit of hay fever this morning. We had a wonderful birthday party for a great, great friend and American, and that was Russell Smith. And I want to say to Thomas and the rest of the crew at Denny's, outstanding service. Now, in the room, the meeting room, we had over 80 people show up, and the service was impeccable. The girls at Denny's did a wonderful job of serving all the dinners and the lunches. It was fantastic. fantastic. So thank you very much, and always remember, whether you're going in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you will receive the same treatment, the same friendliness, and the same great service, and the same great food at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. And again, I want to take just a moment, and I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Renee Wells. Special thank you to Renee Wells. Some of the media were too busy to cover a World War II hero's 90th birthday. Renee jumped in and absolutely bailed us out, and I want to say thank you to her. Then I want to say thanks to Mayor Smedley of Burley. Mayor Smedley figured up and wrote up, along with Mark Mitten, the proclamation for Russell Smith Day. Thank you very much. I want to say George Mass and his color guard. Thank you very much. I want to thank all the veterans in attendance. I want to thank Police Chief James Wardell for being in attendance. I just want to thank everyone. I know I probably omitted somebody's name, and somebody's going to be upset. I hope not. I want to thank Stokes for that beautiful cake and delicious cake that they gave to Russell Smith, along with Smith's Food King, Walmart, Hanson Mortuary. It brought tears to my eyes to celebrate that gentleman's 90th birthday, a real hero, a real patriot, and that was Russell Smith last Thursday at Lunch Bunch. God bless him, and all of you that helped. Oh my, I get a little emotional about that. It was a wonderful day. Let's talk a little bit about Scott Gano real quick. Hello, Scott Gano and Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. He's still looking, I believe, for more help. I mean, they're going all over the country. Now they're busy with all the sprinkler systems and getting them all fixed up and ready to run. They're putting in a lot of new sprinkler systems. They're trimming trees and pruning trees, and he needs more help. Hey, he wants experienced people with sprinklers and trees. Get a hold of him today at Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 336 South 450 West of Paul, and the number to call, 438-2485. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. And also our friends with Maisie. You better believe it, Penetron Soil Conditioner by Maisie, with a 21-year proven record of increasing yield and quality of all Idaho crops, speeding germination, reducing crusting, and improving stand, stimulating root growth and microbial activity. Yes, and you know what else about Penetron by Maisie? It saves water, saves irrigation water. Boy, that is going to reduce your pumping expenses, I'll tell you that. Hey, check it out today. Increase your crop's performance with the proven soil conditioner, Penetron by Maisie. Get the original. Don't get the cheap stuff. No, get the good stuff. Penetron by Maisie. Contact your crop advisor to obtain Penetron soil conditioner, and also you can talk to Dr. Adrian Arp at 734-2255 for additional information. You know what we're going to do? We are going to have the Capital Press Ag Minute, and then right after the Ag Minute, I am going to give away a half dozen delicious Sophie's Chatterbox Cinnamon Rolls. Oh my, they are good. But right now it's time for the Capital Press Ag Minute, and it's brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology with Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, at 1218 9th Street, Unit 2, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. And we all need to protect our hearing in any sort of work, any sort of noise situation. And please, I urge you to do what I did and go over and have a hearing screening. And oh, it has been so beneficial, because remember, hearing loss is not a part of aging. Call for an appointment today on a hearing screening, 312-0957 at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly. Legislation to strengthen President Barack Obama's hand for a new round of trade deals advanced last week in the House, courtesy of Republicans and over the protests of Democrats. A political role reversal that portends a bruising struggle over passage later this spring. The vote was 25-13 in the House Ways and Means Committee as pro-business Republicans outpolled labor-aligned Democrats. The Senate Finance Committee approved a nearly identical bill that would allow lawmakers to vote yes or no without making changes in trade deals, like the one now taking shape among Pacific Rim trading partners. Democrats said the bill doesn't assure labor standards and environmental protections strong enough to avoid placing American companies at a disadvantage. For the Capitol Press Ag Minute, this is Brandon Tenner.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West's Ag Weekly, the Capitol Press, and CapitolPress.com.
All right, thank you very much, Capitol Press. We appreciate that. And let's go right now to Sophie's Chatterbox. Oh, my goodness, at 530 East Street over in Rupert, right on the square. And you can win a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls if you answer the question correctly. And remember, they're open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays, 6 to 2 on weekends. And all you have to do is call ahead at 436-054 if you're the winner, 0354 if you're the winner of these cinnamon rolls, so that you can tell them when you'll be coming over to get them, and they'll be absolutely fresh. Sophie's Chatterbox, great place to eat. All right, here's the question. First person to call, 436-2244. Or 1-866-927-4587 with the right answer. The Righteous Brothers singing group absolutely, hold on a second, I'm going to cough, absolutely owned the top record spots in the late 60s, from about 63 actually to about 75. The Righteous Brothers really had some great songs. But who were the Righteous Brothers? Give me the names of the two singers, and one is still singing. Who were the Righteous Brothers? First person to call with the real names of the Righteous Brothers will receive a half dozen cinnamon rolls. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Give me a call for Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. We'll see how sharp our musical knowledge is out in the audience. While we're waiting for a winner, I'm going to tell you, too, that on Tuesdays, don't forget Mini-Cash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport, with Zach. Oh, my goodness, and the rest of the crew. They've got all your lumber. They've got all your windows. They've got all your shingles for your roof repair. They've got all the Tartar Farm and Ranch equipment. Whoa, baby, I'm telling you, they've got everything. What an inventory to serve you, and they got great people to help you with the installation, too. Mini-Cash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, bringing you Dr. History on Tuesdays. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Bill Medley and Bobby Hatfield.
Who is this?
This is Jim.
Jim who?
Regular listener, first-time caller.
Jim who?
Jim Stalker.
Jim Stalker, you are the winner.
Stalker.
All right. You are the winner of the cinnamon rolls. You're 100% correct. Just call Sophie's, tell them when you'll be coming in. We'll get the name to them, and then you have a half dozen cinnamon rolls, Jim. God bless you, man. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. Jim Stalker was 100% right. The two singers with the Righteous Brothers were Bill Medley and Bobby Hatfield. Bobby Hatfield died in 2003, and Bill Medley is still singing with his daughter, and they go to various events. They're appearing in Branson, Missouri, and other places, and the Righteous Brothers, they were big from 1963 to about 1975. Really good entertainers. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, yeah, Bill Medley could get way down there. He could get real low. Hatfield was the higher of the singers, but boy, old Medley, he could really get down in the basement with his voice. Hey, Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, right next to Dot Foods. You call Tim Vaughn for your estimates on anything you need built right now today. 431-7314. That's the number, 431-7314. And Streamline Precision is a family of companies providing construction, excavation, and fabrication services. And boy, they are putting up a lot of on-the-farm grain bin storage, and they're an authorized dealer in Sioux Cup, Chief Balin, and Nucor buildings. As a matter of fact, they're building the brand new Funk Dairy straight south of me right here in Murtaugh. And they've got all the big, heavy trucks for handling your dirt hauling with the big side dump trucks, and they've got rigs for hauling your great big farm equipment from field A to field B. Give them a call today, 431-7314. Streamline Precision, Tim Vaughn and the crew, you give them a call. They are the pros working for you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zebediah?
Yes, sir.
Did you listen to the president's big party here the other night? See any of it?
What are you regarding, Bob? Tell me.
Well, he made a bucket list.
Yeah.
And he says it rhymes with some other word that he can't say. And I thought that was about as low and about as stupid and as a person can get.
Well, I did see that and hear that, and I will just say this, Bob, the analogy that you gave about how low-classed he was when he said that is indicative of his entire administration.
Well, I can't believe some of these things that come out of people's mouths, and especially the wannabe dictator of the United States.
Bob,
thank you. Have a good day.
All right, I appreciate you bringing that up. I really do. Thank you very much. You know, what he said about Obama was at the press corps dinner the other night in Washington, D.C., and most of the media had representatives there, whether it was Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN. It doesn't make any difference. All the newspapers and everything were there. And Bob hit it right on the head about the rhyming with the word bucket, and I'm not going to go any further than that. The president, in my opinion, can be and has been in many, many occasions, and so has the First Lady, been very low-classed. And I agree totally with Bob on that phone call. I thought it was very low-classed. I'll give you another example of low-class. How many of you have, Saturday's paper of the Times News? Now, I am not blaming, per se, the Times News on all of this, but I am blaming the low-class cartoon of Mike Lukovic. And Mike has had cartoons he's a syndicated cartoonist, and he's had cartoons in almost all the papers, the big name papers across the United States. This cartoon showing the Republican candidates that are running for the presidency was one of the most despicable cartoons I've ever seen, and I think if you get a copy of the cartoon and Mike Lukovic's drawing of Rand Paul, Scott Walker, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, etc., I just think it was so low class, the way that they portrayed these individuals, that thumbs down on the Times News for carrying that cartoon, and thumbs down on Mike Lukovic as being a political cartoonist. He's done this before, many times, and I just don't like the man, and I certainly don't trust the man. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and we want to remind you about some of our dear, dear friends that are helping support Mother's Day, including the Drift Inn at 545 F Street in Rupert. May 10th is Mother's Day, a very special day, and make your reservations at the Drift Inn right now, 436-1300 for the special Mother's Day hours, 11 to 3 on that day. Very delicious specials for the day, too. Prime rib, finger steaks, butterfly shrimp, to name just a few, at the Drift Inn on the square in Rupert for Mom's Day. And don't forget, all your gifts for Mom can be found right there at the Book Plaza with Colonel Dale and the rest of the crew at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Oh my goodness, new books and all kinds of precious moments, figurines, and just absolutely your one-stop shopping for your mom for Mother's Day at the Book Plaza in Burley. Thank you very much. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Deb. Talk about lowlifes and so forth, but,
that cartoon, is indicative of the mentality of the liberal left and the progressives in this country. But mentioning Obama, he's on a list of 1 to 20. He's still got climate change, global warming at the top of the list, and nobody's concerned about it except him and his buddies that are pushing for all that control over us through the EPA and so forth.
Now, Adrian, you are a doctor of agronomy, and you understand CO2. I don't want you to go long on this because I'm really short on time with all the commercials, but I want you to explain to me, why is CO2 becoming such a villain in the eyes of these people?
Well, it's a control mechanism. I mean, people, if we don't have CO2, we don't grow any food, and we don't have any oxygen to breathe. In fact, our plants are starved for oxygen. We're at 400 parts per million. The research been done, most plants would like to have around 1,500, and the toxic level for humans is 100 times what we are now. I mean, so it's just a control mechanism. They're using $360 billion, many of our tax dollars, to control us, to throw away coal and any kind of energy, any kind of fossil fuels, and of course, it's all a hoax. It's a total hoax. The climate is, if anything, it's cooling. And we're seeing more volcanoes, more earthquakes, and that's indicative of a contracting Earth, and that's the research that I see.
Yeah, I tell you what, Adrian, that was a very good synopsis. I need you to call me right after the program if you could. I want to talk to you for a few moments, and don't forget that coming up this morning at 10:06, I'm going to have James Taylor from the Heartland Institute trying to debunk a lot of what these global alarming warmists are saying, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that Heartland Institute's a really good outfit. It really is.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate it. God bless you. Appreciate it much. Yeah, we're going to have Dr. James Taylor on the program, and that's going to be at 10:06 this morning. And, here's what we're going to talk to him primarily about. The people that just are, how do I say this besides being just blunt? Dumb. People are so dumb. The government and the Obama administration are so dumb. They will sit there and they will come out and say, well, we've got to eliminate this, we've got to eliminate that, and then we have people in California that are cursing the fact that farmers are using water for irrigation to grow their crops, and they're cursing this and cursing that. Agriculture right now is so very important. The San Joaquin Valley down in California, our Magic Valley right here in Idaho, and other belts of great agricultural growth need saving and preservation, not condemnation, from the idiots that belong to the government. And we're going to be talking to James Taylor with the Heartland Institute as to how totally backward this administration and the global warming alarmists are, saying that we got to stop all fossil fuels and everything. And my question to you would simply be, how are you going to do agriculture? How are you going to grow crops? How are you going to harvest crops? How are you going to get the crops to the market without a good fossil fuel economy to get them there? It's not going to run on solar. It's not going to run on wind. And the idiocy and incompetency of this administration just leaves me shaking my head that most people aren't smart enough to see the forest because one tree is in the way. It's time for the weather forecast, and the weather is brought to you this hour by Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Yes, sirree, through Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. At Ramsey's, of course, you can check out gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps through Lennox that can save you money. They always provide warm winters and cool summers, and that's at Ramsey Heating and Electric with Lennox. And here now, Michael Rogers' weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zeb of the Ranch. Got a nice week of nice weather, starting with a cool Monday, and by the time you get toward the end of the week, you're going to see temperatures up in the low to mid-70s. Sunny today, clear tonight, all the way through the week. Partly cloudy on Wednesday, but otherwise you got a nice week of weather, a nice, gorgeous, brand spanking new week of you, me, and weather. By the way, I'll be coming to Idaho with my photography. I'll be coming up next week. In fact, I'll be hitting town next Tuesday. Interested in photography services from the point of headshots to portrait photographs for Mother's Day coming up, even senior portraits. You can get a hold of me once I get to Idaho. You can give me a call. In fact, all you have to do is just look at the Facebook page. You can get up with me from there, or you can call me at 702-250-2114. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
What in the world, Michael? Sounds like a great week. Brought to you this hour by Lennox Home Comfort Systems and Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Thank you very much. I'm going to start giving a Dumb Person of the Day award. I've got to figure out what to send them or how to acknowledge them. And I think the Dumb Person of the Day award has got to go to the mayor of Baltimore. Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake, a black lady, made a stunning admission on Saturday in the aftermath of the violent protests over the recent death of Freddie Gray, saying she wanted to give space to those who wanted to protest and destroy. I'm not making this up, folks. The mayor of Baltimore made the comment that she wanted to give space to those who wanted to protest the death of Freddie Gray, a black man that was arrested by the police somewhere in the fracas, developed a spinal injury, and passed away. Very unfortunate. But the mayor wanted to give those who wanted to protest space and the time to go out and destroy. These are her words, not mine. Numerous storefronts and vehicles were damaged and put out of commission. Businesses were looted. And the theft and the absolute violence, it even kept the crowd at the Baltimore Orioles Stadium in the stadium. The in-house announcer at the Baltimore Oriole game announced, please, right after the game, he said, please stay in your seats. We are going to close the exits and not let anybody leave due to the protests that were going on outside and the burnings, the lootings, the destruction, because the mayor said to those who wished to destroy. Ladies and gentlemen, how bad is our society getting? I mean, to destroy? We're giving people an opportunity after something they don't agree with to go out and destroy, loot, burn, and absolutely cause human hardship? This is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. To think that the animals are running the zoo. And the poor police were put in a very precarious position as to what they couldn't do, what they could do, what they should draw back from because of this stupid mayor, dumb mayor, Stephanie Rawlings Blake, saying we wanted to give them space so they could, if they wished to destroy, they could. What are your thoughts on this? I have never heard anything so dumb in my life. Please respond to that. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, right behind Dr. Crane's office and across the street from Family Health Services in Burley. All you have to do is just write this number down, 678-1191, and they can help you get back to feeling like you. Oh, I tell you, Nick Greenwell and the rest of the staff, they've got some wonderful, wonderful qualified people there, help you with with all the sports medicine and all the exercises and the hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill in the bottom. Oh, man, I'm telling you, they are number one, numero uno. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. You call them today, and like I said, they can help you get back to feeling like you. No response. Nobody cares about a mayor that something like this could go nationwide, and the mayor makes an edict that says, well, we just wanted to give the protesters space for those who wish to destroy. Who's going to pay the bill? Oh, and then you say, well, the insurance companies. Well, really, who funds the insurance companies? Us. How come the rates go up? Because of stupid, dumb people like this. And we all end up paying for it. But this attitude of, well, let's give these protesters the time and the effort and the space so that if they feel they need to go out and destroy, we'll let them. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I've watched some of that, and I'll tell you what, it's getting damn sickening. Anytime a mayor can do what she did there, she ought to be impeached and kicked her out of office and never allowed to run again.
Ever in your life, and you're a little bit older than I am, but ever in your life have you heard anything that blatantly dumb to give space to those who wish to destroy?
No. I mean, it's getting worse and worse every damn day. And that deal with Obama the other night, that is the most disgraceful showmanship I have ever seen in my life by a president of the United States of America. For hell's sakes, crawl out from under your rock and get some guts, Mr. Obama.
You know, let me throw this at you. Let's say that at the birthday party for Russell Smith, I had stood up and, as the MC of the meeting, had used that same verbiage in that same way that he did. Wouldn't that be very low class and I deserve to be criticized?
Yeah, and you'd probably got your butt stomped.
Well, that's the point, but nothing happens here.
That's just it. There's no guts anymore. Nobody has the guts to stand up and tell these people that they're wrong. And them agitators coming in from out of state are being paid by Soros to cause all this trouble.
Yeah. But for the mayor of Baltimore to make this statement, here's a direct quote. I've made it very clear that I work with the police and instructed them to do everything they could to make sure that the protesters were able to exercise their right of free speech by destroying. Are you kidding me?
Well, impeach her for obstruction of justice. She's not allowing the officers to do their duty.
How, you know, I saw the protests, and I saw the burning of the cars, brand new cars, and I saw the smashing of the windows, and I saw people's lives that they put all their blood, sweat, and tears into their businesses and everything, just go up in smoke and theft, and this dumb mayor says to give space to those who wish to destroy. That is an open season, no license ticket for this to happen again.
That's right. It's going to get worse if we don't settle down and do things right.
I agree. Thank you for your call.
Big boy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, I would like one Democrat, one, uno, to have the nerve to call me on this program and defend this as the dumbest statement any mayor of any country in this country could make. Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake should be hiding and cowering under the rock that she came out of for being this stupid. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, do you think it ever happened here?
Do I think it'll ever happen here?
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, Fred, because there are many things that are going on nationwide that if we don't address them now and plan for the negative, they could very easily happen here.
Well, in my lifetime, I'd be one carrying the rifle.
Well, I agree with you, but for a mayor, just address this quickly, and caller number 2, don't go away. For a mayor of a major city to say something that stupid about letting people destroy, how dumb is that?
Well, it is stupid, completely stupid. And why they don't repeal her, I can't understand.
I agree. And I know you'd be the first one to the window to say back off, and I appreciate that, and I respect you. Fred, I got another call. God bless you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care of yourself,
Thank you.
buddy.
All right, my friend. Call her real quick. I've only got a couple of minutes left. Go.
Okay, I think that we, as patriotic citizens, need to ask for her job.
All of us.
I don't know how to go about it.
You know, I tell you what I'll do. I'm making a note right now. I will call back there to the Baltimore City office, and I will register the complaint that my listeners on this program want to see her removed for her utter incompetency and being totally dumb, and I'll ask if I can't get a spokesman from that office on my program tomorrow. How's that?
Thank you.
I'll see what I can do. God bless you. Thank you for your call. You know, that lady's right. That lady's right. It's not just the city of Baltimore. It's not just the residents of Baltimore. It should be all of us demanding that this dumb, and she is, dumb woman, Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake, be fired. Be just let go. You're out of here, sweetheart. Don't let the door hit you. And for statements like giving space to protesters who wish to destroy. Those are not my words. I've got it right here in quotation marks. This is complete lunacy. What we, the people, are allowing to manifest in major offices across the United States. This is dumb. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Great big spring tire sale going on right now with tires like the Ultra Z900, all-season design, and it's a great, great passenger car tire. Or for the SUVs and pickups, the Wildcat AT2. I'm telling you, the best tire value promise in the industry. Peace of mind tire protection and lifetime tire and mileage care, and very convenient credit available for tires and services. They really care. And, you know, I also want to acknowledge the fact that they have the best in brake service. The best in brake service. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, all the batteries. Service, service, service. Always for you at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. With Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wheels take us to news at CBS. I'll be back in 6. Good morning, and welcome back. Hour number 2, 7th Ranch on a Monday, and it's going to be a beautiful week. Sunshine, nice temperatures, enjoy springtime right here in southern Idaho. Before we go any further, we want to say thank you very much to the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course service is the name of the game, and along with some of our great advertisers too, like Valley-Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida and Rupert, everything, and I mean everything, for the farm, the home, and the ranch. And here with Wheels, our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
They are always at your disposal, my friends at Western Waste Services. And believe me, the number to call, 734-6969, locally owned and operated. Whether you need dumpsters in various sizes, clean out the basement, the garage, whatever, they can get them to you. And then also all the porta potties, with your special events coming up for the spring and summer. And, of course, the route service. Get on the route service. Your garbage is gone. It's out of there. You give them a call, 734-6969. Western Waste Services. services, yep, always at your disposal. Before we take our guest on the program this morning, I want to remind you also about some good friends of ours, Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward and his staff and family, all of them serving you with very flexible hours. They are there when you need them, and they can travel to rural towns and churches to help you with all the arrangements. Believe me that when there's the passing of a loved one, everything is thrown up in the air, very tumultuous time. They are there to serve you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward. You please remember to call the number 436-5636. Right now we're going to go to the phone lines, and I'm really impressed with this guy. He loves to cook, and he's taking his love of cooking, and he bought a restaurant, and it's one of my favorite places to go eat, and I'm a little prejudiced right there. I'm talking about Jack Bates, new owner and manager of Duck Ugly, right there at 163 Highway 30 in Burley. Good morning, Jack. How are you?
Good. How are you, Zed?
I am fantastic. I'll tell you what, you have hit a home run. You're kind of a cross between Willie Mays and Bonds and all these guys, knocking it out of the park with this Duck Uglies. My goodness, you're going to have a grand reopening coming up this Friday, May 1st. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yep, May 1st, our kickoff starts at 5 p.m. We're doing a full pig roast. We got two bands performing. First is at 5 to 7 is Mr. Ned Carliter, called Mr. Baby Boomer. And then 7 to 10, we have our own Barton and Bowler coming into town. They'll be playing from 7 to 10. And then during that time, anybody that buys a meal will get a free raffle ticket for a flat screen TV giveaway, donated by B&K Auto. Also, it'll be a Vizio 43-incher.
Oh, my goodness. And all this is going to start at 5 p.m. Is that right, on Friday?
Yep, kickoff's at 5, and the party starts when it ends.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Jack, I got to tell you, you've done a whale of a job already. We've really been impressed with your service, and then, of course, we were there and heard Barton and Bowler. But now you're also extending things a little bit, and you're starting to serve breakfast. Tell us about that.
Yes, we open at 6 o'clock. We got Mr. Gene in here cooking in the mornings. We got fair prices. Pretty big menu option for you. Pretty much cook what you want, and even cook hamburgers or a steak and eggs if you'd like.
Oh, my goodness. The big thing that you want to make Duck Uglies is kind of just a nice place to come in, sit down, and enjoy a meal and a lot of great entertainment. As a matter of fact, you told me that you're going to try to have music every night in there. Is that right?
Yes, we're working on that right now. Right now we're Tuesday through Saturday, but I'm trying to get a band in here on Mondays and get rolling on that. And I'd like to also say it's family friendly. You know, a lot of people think it was something else, but it's family friendly, and bring the kids and enjoy and have a fun time.
You know, another thing too, Jack, that we were sitting there the other day by the big boat right there inside Duck Uglies, and you were telling me that every Saturday you're going to have smoked barbecue ribs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, every Saturday night, starting at 5 o'clock, we got a smoked rib by world champion Omar Alvarez. He's out there cooking all day, and you can smell it. A lot of people get anxious, want to come in a little earlier, but 5 o'clock's the kickoff on that every Saturday night.
You know, Jack, what about you, a little bit about your background? You said the other day when I was in there to meet you that you said you just loved to cook, and so this opportunity of owning this restaurant really came out good for you.
It did. It came out great. You know, it's something I ever wanted to do since I was a little kid, and I got the opportunity to do it now, and I love to pitch in with the girls and get back there and flip a few steaks and make everybody put a smile on their face.
Jack, tell us again, now you're located at 163 Highway 30 in Burley. You can't miss the place. It's called Duck Uglies, really a great spot. Give us your hours that you're open right now.
Hours, Monday through Friday, 6 to the last person leaves, usually around 9:30 or 10. Saturdays, we're open from 11 to close, same with the last person that leaves. Pretty soon we're going to start opening on Saturdays for breakfast, and we'll let everybody know when we get that, when we get our menu established.
All right, but the big grand reopening is going to be this Friday, May 1st, and boy, I hope you got a lot of folding chairs, because I'll guarantee I think you're going to have quite a crew.
We do, and also I'd like to tell everybody that if you can't find parking in a parking lot, there's Barry's Equipment and Rental, and they said that we could park over there, so you're more than welcome to park your rigs over there, and it's just about 10 for a walk. You won't miss us.
All right. Listen, I want to tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing. Jack Bates over at Duck Uglies. God bless you, man, and we'll be talking to you, and we'll see you definitely on Friday night.
Sounds good, Zeb. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care. Duck Uglies, I love that restaurant, and we've had a lot of fun over there. And I know Dave and Don Zanino, our old buddies and friends, they've been with us many, many times over there. 163 Highway 30 in Burley with a grand reopening. Don't miss it. This Friday night, May 1st. I'll tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. I've got just a few minutes here, kind of a little opening for you to call and talk to me about anything you want to mention. Again, reminding you about Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Now, we start the program off every morning with the weather forecast with Michael Rogers Weather. And we're so blessed to have Cheney Flooring and Home Design as our sponsor at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678, and that's 6945. Look for the blue door for all the carpet and flooring and kitchen construction, home decor, whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Really, really nice folks. Oh, and by the way, real quick also, I want to get this on. Our friends at Streamline Precision, and then we'll take some more calls. So give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Streamline Precision with our buddy Tim Vaughn. Tim stopped over here a couple of days ago, drove in the yard, and we had a good visit. Well, you can give him a call at 431-7314, and you can talk to him all about the estimates you need on what you need built on your property. Whether it's on the farm grain storage, they're authorized dealers for Sioux Cub, Chief, Balin, and Nucor buildings, and they can do all the trenching for your pipelines, and they can do all the cement work for your mangers and feed alleys. As a matter of fact, right now, they are heavily involved in finishing and building the new Funk Dairy right here south of Murtaugh. So check it out. Give them a call. They're a family of companies providing construction, excavation, and fabrication services. Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley, right next to Dot Foods. Number to call, 431-7314. The professionals building for you. Okay? All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I had a lady call last hour, and I made the comment that I will definitely get a hold of the Baltimore City offices after I get off the program here this morning and do all I can to find out if it's possible to get a spokesperson for the mayor to come on the program. I doubt seriously if Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake will come on the show. She's probably hiding over her stupidity for what she said this last weekend in telling the rioters and the protesters in Baltimore to go ahead and letting the police give them space for those who wish to destroy. Dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm going to save this story and do a follow-up on this in the next couple of days, and I'll try to see if I can't get somebody on the air tomorrow. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, Hillary Clinton and her head injuries. I did a little research over the weekend and found a story that had been written by Dr. Mark Siegel. And he had an editorial about how Hillary Clinton's health needs to have a dose of transparency. Hillary Clinton is 67 years of age. And quite frankly, she's had some problems. And the public deserves, I'm reading from the story that Mark Siegel wrote in the USA Today, The public deserves to see the detailed medical information and to receive answers to basic health questions for any prospective president with a history of problems. He said, I have never been satisfied by a single-page affirmation letter from candidate Barack Obama's physician. And he said further on that journalists deserve the same opportunity to pore over Hillary Clinton's medical records, but will we get the chance? When she developed a blood clot outside her brain in 2012 after a fall, he said he contacted her neurologist but was not given any access to the information. Now, remember John McCain when he was running for president? I mean, they absolutely went after all the medical records on John McCain. I mean, the left was after everything. They wanted to find out about paper cuts. Why aren't we being informed? And right now we should know about Hillary Clinton, and she could have many tendencies to form more blood clots. I can relate to this. After I had surgery a year ago in January, developed blood clots in my knee. I am susceptible to blood clots. Well, if she had a knock on the noggin and developed blood clots, why shouldn't we know about her health status and really have people in journalism push for getting the records so that everything about Hillary Clinton is transparent and we know what the people are looking at and voting for if she possibly gets the nomination for the Democratic position of being president. Your thoughts? Should we know more about Hillary? Should we know more about her health? Should we know more about her temper tantrums and everything else that might, I'm saying might, and allegedly, have something to do with her personality? There again, I chuckle. Does she have a personality? Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And a question for anybody and everybody out there. I would like to know why this administration and even the utterances of perhaps the previous administration with George W. Bush, why that they decided to sell our uranium to our enemies. This is absolutely insane. We are selling uranium. I think we sold off about 20% of it to our enemies, and possibly some of that's going to be resold to Iran. What are we thinking here? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, in regards to Hillary, she is, she has extremes. She was a student, heavily involved with Saul Alinsky, and that alone is mental illness in itself, let alone falling and hitting your head and stuff. So, Hillary, back in when the administration, Bill and Hillary's administration, there was a talk show host, a national talk show host who was on the local program, local station here, named was Chuck Harder. Do you remember him?
Very much, yes.
Well, and I don't mean to bring up another talk show host, but, he's no longer in business. He may not even be alive. I routinely, before I ever moved over to Burley, I listened to that station and I listened to him talk about what a terrible, filthy administration and what they had done to get where they were, even to get the governorship of Arkansas and everything. When you restudy the history of this and these two people, they are just soulless. They are criminals.
Well, Randy, let me ask you a question here. When you go behind the curtain at a voting place at the polls, and you're going to cast your vote for the president, regardless of the partisan politics, Republican or Democrat, don't you think that it's very significant for you as a voter and all voters to be informed that you have all the knowledge about that person's ability to govern and lead as a president, and isn't their health status one of the prime issues?
Oh, yeah. I mean, no question about it. But you see, it's the same old thing, we let this media get away with it, and thank God for talk shows and Fox News and hard-working patriots, because if it wasn't for that, this thing would have been done long ago.
Well, let me ask you this question then, while you're on the air here quick, and calls are welcome, 436-2244. But Randy, what is the obsession, in your opinion, for the Democrats and conversely the Clintons to have another run at the White House? Here she's a grandma, she's got a little granddaughter that she could be spending a lot of time with, and her family situation. What is the obsession with the Clintons to have this kind of power?
Well, that in itself is it, the power. They have become filthy rich to whatever means necessary, illegal or illegal. And Hillary and Bill, I think they probably accidentally had, a night in the sack, forgive me, and they accidentally had a child. I don't think they ever really wanted a child. I'm sure they love their child to a point, but when it comes right down to it, I don't feel that Bill and Hillary are loving, doting parents or grandparents. Bill's too busy going to the island and spending time with underage girls. So, these people are off the rocker, but what's new?
Well, I'm afraid, and I wouldn't put it as in the same verbiage that you did, but I'm afraid that we have so much to learn, even though Hillary and Bill have been in the limelight and in the public eye for many, many years. We have so much more to know about the Clintons. We have so much more that we deserve to know about their what's going on with their Clinton Foundation. We have so much more to learn about what they did with the money. We have so much more to learn about their server that was all of a sudden erased with the emails that should have stayed with the Secretary of State's office. I can't see one reason why any Democrat that had a backbone and also a patriotic heart would ever vote for Hillary Clinton.
Well, again, this is the thing. What I'm going to say this, and I know you got to go. The Obama administration, they gave the people of America a shot to the gut, and we were buckled over, and we went to our knees, I think.
Yeah.
And then we said, so now we've woke up. We've got all these great candidates for office. We have more Republicans in the Congress than we have since the 20s or 30s. I go to the freeway, Zeb, and it's a damn zoo.
Yep.
And you know what? That artery out there that we drive on tells me that this country is on its way back in spite of what this sorry...
I agree. That's a good way to wrap it up right there. Thank you so much, Randy. Caller number 2, I'll be right with you. Don't go away. I got to get this in real quick. Mother's Day is around the corner on May 10th. And the Goodie Shop at 133 West Main in Burley says, hey, treat mom to a goodie basket. Oh, you can build your own or select one that's already done. Special Mother's Day mugs. They can be filled with candy kisses and brownie treats and baskets and everything. Mother's Day and the Goodie Shop. They're synonymous at 133 West Main in Burley. And also K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Haybarn. Hey, it's springtime, and K&R Rental has the tools you need to get your property in shape for summer. And what a great gift for mom to get the yard all fixed up, made up, and all the different equipment tools you need are right there at K&R Rental. 256 South, 600 west of Haybarn, wishing all the moms a happy Mother's Day. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
I ran into another truck driver when I was running over the road that had worked for the Clintons back when he was in the governor's mansion. And his job was to go gather Bill up and get him home after the partying, along with the state troopers.
I have heard that and read those stories, yes. Go ahead, caller.
But why would she allow it? I mean, if she'd allow her husband to do them kind of things, why do we want to put her in charge?
Your point, I'll twist that just a little bit. Hang with me. Maybe the drive and the striving for being the president of the United States, forget all this first woman president garbage, but maybe she wants to show that she has as much power and as much to do as her husband did, and maybe try to outdo him, and basically in-your-face attitude. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, they always had the joke about how Bill and Hillary was in a gas station and ran into an old boyfriend of hers, and she says, "Don't you wish about him would have been president instead of Bill if he'd married her?"
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things we can wish for and hope for, but one thing I'm praying for is that she does not get the nomination and she never gets to be president. God bless you for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Hey, don't forget our friends at Let's Ride. Oh, I really thank Nick, I do, for his kind of verbally twisting my arm a little bit. I can remember the conversation very vividly, sitting over there talking to him one day in his office, and then all of a sudden I ended up buying 2 ATVs. Best thing I ever did. And then when he delivered them, I had forgotten to tell my wife, and we were sitting outside, and she saw the ATVs coming in the yard, and she said, "Well, I wonder who that is." And then it was a long story to explain, but she loves riding on her ATV now, and I thank Let's Ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, and that is where the fun is sold. Don't forget, they've got all the ATVs. They've got all the accessories. They've got all the Can-Am ATV side-by-sides. They've got all the fun right there. So stop over and see them today. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn. Let's Ride. Yep, where the fun is sold. Really good, folks. And by the way, if you're over on Highway 24 going towards Rupert, don't forget Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Had a nice visit the other day with Dean Cameron, and I hardly ever get a chance to see Todd. Todd, doggone it, you gotta get out there so I can talk to you more often. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Dedicated and responsive to your needs, always serving other people. Don't forget to give them a call, make an appointment to make sure that you've got all the coverage you need. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really good, folks. In just a moment, we're going to be going to the phone lines, and we're going to have our dear friend Carrie Kupek from Alliance Defending Freedom coming on the program this morning. And tomorrow on the show, I want to remind you, Dr. History is on Tuesdays. And we're going to do a little bit more about his trip to China tomorrow morning at 10:06. So don't forget that. That's tomorrow, Dr. History. And we had a lot of people call and say, wow, did they enjoy learning all about China and his trip over there? And so we'll have him back again, and we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. Just a little bit ago, you heard all about what's going on at Duck Uglies. They are having this week a grand reopening, and Friday night they are going to have a ball. That's going to be the grand reopening on Friday, May 1st, starting at about 5 p.m. Holy cow, look out. They're going to have a great big roast pig and all the trimmings, and they're going to have raffles for a flat screen TV. They're going to have all kinds of goodies along with great food, super entertainment, Ned Carter, then Barton and Bowler. Wow, all of this at Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And I'll guarantee you, Jack Bates, the new owner-manager, has hit a home run with this grand reopening coming up this Friday night at Duck Uglies. Don't you miss it, okay? Let's get on the phone line right now and go to the phone lines with Carrie Kupek. Carrie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zab. How are you this morning?
Well, I got to admit, I'm a little bit confused. I have at least 1,000 pieces of paper that you and Deanne have been sending back and forth, and to be honest with you,
a little crazy over here.
Well, it's been a little crazy here because I haven't had a chance to read anything, and Deanne just keeps handing me papers, and I'm on the air talking, and I haven't had a chance to talk about them. So tell me a little bit about what's going on in Kentucky and a court case that you, the Alliance Defending Freedom, have just won.
Yeah, this is great news. This is the story of Blaine Adamson. He owns a T-shirt printing company called Hands On Original, and a couple years ago, someone had come into his shop and asked Blaine to print T-shirts promoting the local Gay Pride Festival parade, and he had politely referred him to another printer who could do the same work, same quality, because Blaine is a Christian and believes that marriage is between a man and a woman, and does not believe that he can promote that kind of message since it runs so contrary to his faith. Well, the local commission, had ruled against him and said that Blaine must do print T-shirts with this kind of message. Well, the Kentucky court, we just got the decision this morning, said that no, his free speech rights should be protected, and that the government cannot force citizens to surrender free speech or religious freedom in order to run a small business. That's constitutional. That's what our country stands for, and the court today affirmed that and said that Blaine can operate his business according to his beliefs. It's a great win. Certainly the court's just following what the First Amendment says in the court, but this is a great victory for free speech for everyone.
Well, now, Carrie, let's talk about a little bit more in depth on this case.
Sure.
I am so glad for this gentleman to have his free speech restored. It should have never been diminished or taken away whatsoever. But now, also in accordance with this case, we are seeing the destruction of a business and the destruction of a family savings with the other case regarding the cake baker, and it just seems like anybody and everybody is under assault by the liberal left and trying to promote more rights for the gays and lesbians than we do for Christians.
Right, but yes, and unfortunately we've seen just this tremendous trampling of the rights of Americans to freely speak and to associate and to live according to their faith. But what's interesting is that the court here said in their opinion, and it's very true, that Hands On Originals declining to print the shirts, so Blaine's decline was based on the message of the Gay Pride Festival and not the sexual orientation of those who came in. Blaine has customers in the LGBT community, and it has nothing to do with that. In fact, the court even said there's nothing in the record before the commission that the sexual orientation that any individual that had contact with Hands On Original was it didn't play a part into this case. It had to do with the message, which is the same exact issue that the bakers and Flores that you refer to are dealing with right now. It's not about the person. It's not about, has nothing to do with the sexual orientation. It's about promoting a message, using one's creative talents and expressing themselves through work that they are creating in a way that completely violates the teachings of their faith on marriage. That's all this is. The government should not force anyone to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely, and this is what really irritates me. We will let somebody take the American flag and we will let them spit on it and do worse. We will let them walk on it with their filthy boots, and we say that protects their freedom of speech. But Christians, when they say, no, we don't believe in that lifestyle, they can be besieged by the liberal left. They can lose all their savings. They have to pay enormous amounts of money in attorney fees. They can lose everything they've got for their business and go down in defeat, and that's not part of free speech. The Constitution is very blatantly clear, and it should protect everybody.
Absolutely. And what makes America unique is our freedom to peacefully live out our beliefs. The Constitution protects that. You're not free if your beliefs are confined to your mind. If the government says, oh, you can think them, but don't think about acting on them, well, that's ridiculous. What are beliefs without actions, right? And so this court decision is an excellent one. It just simply affirms what our Constitution already says. And again, what's interesting is that, this customer that came in that wanted these T-shirts, not only did Blaine refer him to someone else who would do a great job, this customer ended up getting the T-shirts for free.
Oh my!
And that is what has happened so many times with these bakers and florists and these clients that we have right now. They always refer to them. They refer to other people, and oftentimes they end up getting their product for free. And so it's just really it's crazy what's been happening. But again, this is a great decision that affirms freedom of Americans to speak and live according to their faith.
Let me ask you, do you think that the repercussions from this victory will spread to other states and other issues, and hopefully we'll see more common sense like this prevail?
Yeah, well, it certainly sends a message that says, okay, look, there's a little bit, we're going too far here. We saw this with what happened with the Indiana Riffer situation and Memories Pizza, that pizza place in Indiana who was asked a hypothetical question by a reporter that was intentionally digging around, trying to create something out of nothing, trying to create a story. And, if you remember the story, that reporter asked the owners of that pizza place, would you cater pizza for hypothetically speaking, for a same-sex wedding? And the owners very politely said, well, we would certainly serve anyone who comes in our door and serve them pizza, that's no question. But to ask us to create food for an event that really violates our faith teaching on marriage, well, we couldn't do that. And you saw what happened. There were threats to burn down their pizza place. Right. There was all kinds of horrible things. But what was interesting, though, was that there was a little bit of a backlash against the backlash. The mainstream media started putting out pieces saying, okay, what are we doing here? Do we really want to destroy and run into the ground moms and pops whose faith, they're just simply living according to the teachings of their faith about marriage, a teaching that is shared by, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, a teaching that is shared across diverse cultures and races for centuries. This doesn't seem right. And so we've been seeing that sort of creeping in with people, the common sense aspect, like this is not American. And anyway, so this decision in this Kentucky court certainly reflects that and is really putting out there the idea that there needs to be a balance, and people need to be able to freely live together peacefully and be able to live and express themselves according to their faith.
Another story, if you wouldn't mind, Carrie, that I'd like to get into a little bit is because tomorrow, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe tomorrow the U.S. Supreme Court will beginning hear the oral arguments regarding marriage, traditional marriage versus gay marriage. Bring us up to speed about a panel discussion the Alliance Defending Freedom is going to host.
Yeah, so we actually just hosted it on Friday, and it was really interesting. And the title of the panel was called "What About the Children?" And it was a closer look at the child-focused arguments that are part of the front of the court briefs filed with the court for tomorrow. And it's interesting, the petitioners before the court, they have some pretty sad stories, and these are the ones that are looking to have recognition of their same-sex marriages in their states. And there's some tragedy involved, and there's some really sad things, and it's understandably, it's sad stuff, some of the details of their actual cases. However, what people in the media and the culture are ignoring are that there are voices on the other side, and these are the children who, depending on what happens with the Supreme Court this tomorrow and the decision on marriage, they can be denied a mother and a dad as a matter of public policy. Because when same-sex marriage if it becomes a mandated thing, or becomes a mandated thing for states to recognize, as a matter of legal policy, what same-sex marriage does is it eliminates that child from being connected to their biological mom and their biological dad. And there are several briefs before the court tomorrow that are actually they're adult children now, but they were raised by same-sex couples. And they say, look, we loved our parents, we loved our two moms, but all the two moms or all the two dads in the world can never replace having, a mom and a dad.
Absolutely.
My whole life I longed for a father, is what they say, with their two moms, and nothing can replace that. And we are very concerned about the future children of this country who are not going to get a voice in this, who are not going to get a say. And as a matter of policy that the government and the court is looking at right now, they will never have that opportunity. And where's the fairness in that? And so this panel explored those arguments and really bringing to life that there are some very interesting voices before the Supreme Court right now that are not getting a lot of attention, but they are very real, and it's something that everyone needs to consider.
You know, there was and maybe I'm jumping ahead here a little bit, but I just wanted to mention, there was a quote made by Caleb Dalton that works for the Alliance Defending Freedom, and it was, quote unquote, the people should be free to pass laws consistent with their views on what is in the best interests of children. When I read that, right off the bat, I thought of what happened a couple of years ago with Proposition 8 in California, where the parents and people thought about what's best for a wholesome family, but the left really overloaded their guns and went after them, overturned it, and it seems like people of faith and people of conviction, even though they vote for it and they have the numbers, they still get stepped on like a doormat.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is that, like you said, the questions before the court tomorrow are, does the Constitution require states to recognize same-sex marriage? And number two, does the Constitution require states to recognize same-sex marriage licenses issued by other states? And what's interesting is that, yes, I mean, there have been so many and millions of Americans that have gone to the ballot box, exercised their constitutionally protected right to vote, which is obviously a vital freedom that we have in this country, and said marriage should be between a man and a woman, and the court should uphold the freedom of the people to affirm that truth. And I just would like to read really quickly to you a quote from one of the Friends of the Court briefs that's before the court tomorrow, from one of these people who was raised by a same-sex couple, and this is actually in a brief before the court. And she says, I love a man whom I don't even know, a man who, by all accounts, is a lousy father. I don't know why I love him, I just do. I ached for my father to love me. I ached for the father I knew I would never have. And the court needs to consider, and that's someone named Heather Barwick, not just Heather making this argument before the court tomorrow, but all of the children and the generations to come who are going to have that same longing and that same sensation. And what same-sex marriage does is it creates that out of the gate for all of these children. And it's really very sad. And I really hope that the court took a good look at the children's voices and the children's interests as they move forward with this case.
There is nobody, and I'll stand up on a pedestal and I'll shout this from any city park in America, there's nobody that's going to convince me that a same-sex couple, whether it's two men or whether it's two women, can ever offer these children a balance of looking at them and saying, gee, I wished I had a dad, my neighbors all have dads. I wished I had a mom, my neighbors all have moms, so I could relate this, that, and the other, whether it's a little boy or a little girl. It's not fair to throw them into a situation where they don't have a mom and a dad. I'm just going to let it go at that.
Yeah, and I think, there's truth to what you're saying. I don't think anyone's denying the fact that a same couple can be good parents. That's not the issue. The issue is no two moms can ever be a mom and a dad. No two dads can ever be a mom and a dad.
That's right.
It's just the way it is. It's just the way it works. And one of the other women in that brief, she wrote in a fantastic piece that was published in Public Discourse. And she said, if you ask a child raised by a lesbian couple if they love their two moms, you'll probably get a resounding yes. Ask about their father, however, and you are in for either painful silence, a confession of gut-wrenching longing, or the recognition that they have a father that they wish they could see more often. The one thing that you will not hear is indifference.
That's right. Real quick, Carrie, and I'm sorry, I just want to make sure we touch on this story. I have been a big advocate of Planned Parenthood going down in defeat. I don't like the idea that taxpayers are funding money for Planned Parenthood. What's going on with Alliance Defending Freedom with a petition against the U.S. Supreme Court?
Sure. The New Hampshire Right to Life has asked the Supreme Court to stop HHS stonewalling protected Planned Parenthood. Again, HHS, the Obama administration, they're withholding information to protect the Planned Parenthood for grants. It's a little bit complicated, but basically, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services had awarded a grant to Planned Parenthood in 2011. We want to see what's in there. New Hampshire Right to Life wants to see what's in there, especially since, there's all kinds of issues with federal funding for abortion. There's an amendment out there, the Walden Hyde Amendment, that says the government cannot use taxpayer funds to fund abortion. And so New Hampshire Right to Life wants to see what this grant was about and why the government gave this money to Planned Parenthood. And they are asking for the public documents. They've been repeatedly stonewalled. They have not received these documents which they are by law entitled to look at. And so now we have filed a petition with the Supreme Court asking the court if the Obama administration can get away with withholding these documents that New Hampshire Right to Life is entitled to see.
Carrie, you're the best. I really appreciate your coming on the program. I mean, I never ever worry about not having the information out there on all these subjects. Carrie Kupek is with us, Alliance Defending Freedom. And how can people check on these cases and others? How can they find out more about ADF?
They can go to alliancedefendingfreedom.org, or if they want to look at the court documents and some of the analysis, they can go to adfmedia.org. And so thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, more than that, we appreciate you. God bless you and have a wonderful week, and we'll probably talk to you next Monday. Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. Wow, that was a lot of information in just a short period of time, but Alliance Defending Freedom, I'm very, very proud to have them on my program. They do a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Holy smokes, we've got to get the weather in here, and then I'll take some more calls. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I have just a minute, Mad River Laser. What can you say about Mad River Laser that is just absolutely not been said before? They are the best at what they do. There you go, plain and simple. They're at the best at what they do. They do all your promotional business items, whether it's your logo or business name on shirts, jackets, caps, T-shirts. They can do all the employee recognition awards. I mean, they do banners. What else can you say? But they're absolutely the best at what they do. Nicole and Alex Pratt, Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Absolutely the best. Here now, the weather with Michael Rogers Weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zeb of the Ranch. Got a nice week of nice weather, starting with a cool Monday, and by the time you get toward the end of the week, you'll see temperatures up in the low to mid-70s. Sunny today, clear tonight, all the way through the week. Partly cloudy on Wednesday, but otherwise you got a nice week of weather, a nice, gorgeous, brand spanking new week of you, me, and weather. By the way, I'll be coming to Idaho with my photography. I'll be coming up next week. In fact, I'll be hitting town next Tuesday. Interested in photography services from the point of headshots to portrait photographs for Mother's Day coming up, even senior portraits. You can get a hold of me once I get to Idaho. You can give me a call. In fact, all you have to do is just look at the Facebook page. You can get up with me from there, or you can call me at 702-250-2114. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. And the weather this hour is brought to everybody by Mad River Laser, and they're located right on the square in Rupert at 502 East Street. Number to call, 436-2293. Really good folks at Mad River Laser. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. If you have not heard and you have not paid attention to the news the last couple of days, our past Olympic champion and decathlon winner, Bruce Jenner, and the father of the Kardashians, married into the Kardashians, has now decided that he is going to lead the rest of his life in being a woman. I mean, I could not believe this. They're actually giving news time on the major networks with their newscasts to this slovenly, absolutely disgusting story about Bruce Jenner letting his hair grow real long, starting to wear makeup, taking shots and everything else. Wants to lead the rest of his life as a woman. Your thoughts? I'm sitting here just scratching my head. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Well, I'm not bad. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I just wondered if you could maybe kickstart an issue that's somewhat of concern to me as it relates to property taxes in Twin Falls County and the surrounding area. First of all, we're continuing to see increasing bond levy issues that want to continue to increase property tax owners. And there is a dire need for new schools, especially in Kimberly. And yet we see schools in Murtaugh and Hanson that are just basically, Murtaugh's actually doing pretty good, but Hanson's just dying.
Right.
We need somebody to kind of lead this discussion and get some quality in the schools, but along with sustained growth that isn't on the back of property owners. You have to help in that regard.
I will do a special segment on that. I appreciate your calling in that regard this morning, because if I don't have some of the public call like yourself and suggest that we do certain segments on certain topics, it won't get done. I appreciate that very much, and I will follow up on that right after the program's over this morning, Dave. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeff.
Hey, by the way, don't leave. I got a question for you. Dave, coming up at 10:06 this morning, I'm going to be talking to the Heartland Institute back in Chicago, Illinois. And the primary topic of discussion this morning is going to be this administration, especially with Obama and his bent on taking everything to the nth degree on climate change and really disrupting anything and everything with fossil fuels. How is that going to affect agriculture? And you, as an agricultural spokesman, give us a real quick short synopsis as to climate change, growing food, and what could happen to the United States with their agricultural production.
Well, the facts are coming out, Deb, and we don't really have to work too hard in that, because all of the other countries in the world have recognized that all the science that supports climate change is all false, it's all bogus. So the truth's coming out, and these guys with Al Gore and such have egg on their face because they don't like agriculture, they want to blame agriculture, but it's not a reality. It's not a reality. Climate change is something that's happened. It's naturally occurring event, and they tried to hang their hat on something that's false, it's fake. And I think the future of real science will prove that point.
Dave, as a farmer and a man that's I highly respect, you've been all over the United States and have talked at various meetings, etc. What is the divide here between common sense and the liberal left trying to force climate change on us? Don't they realize that without fossil fuels, there would be virtually no agriculture in the United States of America?
Well, we see some of that that's absolutely going to play out, not just with regard to fossil fuels, but also with regard to the lack of water in California. And the environmental arena is we're all focused on what's going to happen this year in California as it relates to those two particular issues. And I think that's going to be something that's really worth watching in this summer.
In your opinion, Dave, with the San Joaquin Valley and also here the Magic Valley and other hotspots of agricultural growth production across the United States, I have said for a long time that a country that can't produce its own food is a country that will be subservient to any and all countries and go into a third world status. Would you agree with that?
Well, I don't know if we're going to be into a third world status, but I believe that once we see another increase in cost of food to the consumers, they're going to demand some equality, and that equality is a long time awaited for those involved in agriculture. We're a significant part of the cost of commodities to the American consumer have to do with frivolous regulations, many of which have no grounds or means of protection to the consumer at all. It's just something that the government wanted to do to satisfy the administration or wild environmentalists.
Of all the, last question, Dave, and then I've got to run. I've only got a minute left here, but of all the candidates now that are throwing hats into the ring for the presidency, one on the Democratic side and many on the Republican side, who, in your opinion, really knows and understands and appreciates the value of American agriculture?
Well, I think there's the recognition that we can't survive without a good, robust agriculture economy in all of the United States. But I wanted to just point out one thing, and I hope it continues to play out the way it has. But I want you to consider this, and I might have heard this on your program a few weeks ago. But freedom, Deb, is choice. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And what does it tell you if the Democratic Party does not have a choice?
Absolutely.
What does that say to you?
Tunnel vision for a dictatorship.
There's no freedom, and it's more of a dictatorship. And that should be an alarm enough to the people, even the Democratic Party, to say we better get out somebody, because absence of choice is absence of freedom.
Absolutely. My dear friend, thank you so much. God bless, and I'd love to have you back on the program when you can. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right. Good friend of mine calling in, Dave Roper, and I have the highest regard for him, his abilities, and knowledge with agriculture. Hey, don't forget Lennox and Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, my goodness sakes, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Remember, at Ramsey Heating and Electric, with Lennox, they can save you money, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. We're going to get ready right now for a little break, and coming back, I really can't wait to talk to this man. He's so nice and so educated, and that's Dr. James Taylor with the Heartland Institute back in Chicago. And then at 10:30, we've got Tim Graham coming on with the Media Research Center. So we've got another full hour to go. Right now, we'll turn it back over to Wheels and be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away. Oh my, welcome back. What a beautiful looking day outside today. My goodness sakes, the sunshine and the blue skies. Guess where I'm going right after 11:01 this morning. You can bet on that. Hey, welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch. And of course, I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service, 734-6969. And our friends at Valley Wide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Everything for the farm, the home, and the ranch. Before we have our next guest on the phone, and I'm very excited to have a conversation with him, stand by, I want to mention about the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Today, the special is teriyaki beef served over white rice with veggie super salad. It's going to be great, always is. And they're even going to be starting to have a comedian come in on Wednesday nights at the Chadwick. Put that down on your calendar. Great food and a lot of laughs, too, at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Really nice folks. And when you say a category for really nice folks, my goodness, I forgot to turn off that telephone again. Thank you, Wheels. Wheels is ringing and I'm listening. Anyway, Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley. Streamline Precision right next to Dot Foods. And the people at Streamline Precision, ready to serve you with all your building needs. As a matter of fact, it's a family of companies providing construction, excavation, and fabrication services. And you've heard me say, right now they're building a lot of different items, including the great big brand new Funk Dairy straight south of Murtaugh. And they've got the equipment to handle all your dirt hauling needs with the big side dump trucks, and they've got all the big heavy rigs for hauling your farm equipment from field A to field B. All you have to do is just get a hold of them, call them, and they'll give you an estimate on whatever you need done. 431-7314. Call Tim Vaughn today. Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley. Give them a call. They are the building professionals. Right now, when I have any segments on my program regarding climate change, global warming, and everything else, any other name you want to associate with it, I always think first and foremost of getting a representative on from the Heartland Institute in Chicago, and that's, of course, James Taylor. James, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing well, especially after such a kind introduction. Thank you, Jeff.
Well, it's more than just a kind introduction. I feel that you guys have been absolutely important to getting the real truth out, the real words out about what's going on with this, first of all, global warming and now climate change. And I guess the obvious question is, are we winning or losing, James, as far as public opinion is concerned? Are more people understanding that maybe climate change is cyclical and not caused by mankind, or the opposite? What's going on?
Well, the counterintuitive but accurate answer is that we are winning. And the reason why I say counterintuitive is because the media are doubling down on their efforts, as are liberal politicians, to make it appear that there is a scientific consensus that the debate is over, etc. And the reason why they're doubling down on their efforts is because they realize they are losing the battle for truth. And we see this reflected in polling, where people, even though they have a general concern about global warming, they generally would like to see action taken. When they're asked how serious they believe the global warming issue is, when they're asked if they expect to see any implications in their lifetime, any other types of questions that get down to the specifics, people say no, they're not very concerned at all. And that's just a factor of people being able to discern the truth. People are not as stupid as politicians like to think, or as the media like to think.
Yeah, but James, the other side of that coin is that the government and Obama, it's his pet project in order to have complete control over our country and this nation. And I believe that with the stroke of his pen or his little cell phone in his pocket, he's going to do everything he can in the remaining 633 days to impose more hardship on us through regulations. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's true, and the reason why he's doing so is because even when President Obama had majorities in the House and Senate, including a supermajority in the Senate, he could not get cap-and-trade restrictions through Congress. He could not get any other form of significant carbon dioxide restrictions through Congress, because even Democratic congressmen and senators have to account to their constituents who are going to be voting whether to return them to office or not. And they realize that if they follow through on the programs that Obama would like, they're not going to be reelected. President Obama is stretching the limits on this issue, or the limits of his authority, as he is on several other issues. And it's really up to Congress to rein him in. And it's a shame that so many congressmen are so deathly afraid of the media backlash that would occur from them saying, for example, we're going to pass a budget and giving President Obama pretty much everything he wants, except that they're not going to allocate funds for his global warming extremist policies. President Obama then throws a temper tantrum and says, well, I'm not signing it, and the Republicans and conservative Democrats are afraid to say, well, then you're the one shutting down government. Instead, they let the media control the directive, but they really need the narrative. But they have the opportunity, and I think they'd have the public support to say, we're not going to fund this garbage anymore.
You know, James, the reason I want to tell my audience, the reason I wanted to have you on the program this morning, one of the main reasons was I don't think there's been enough said as to how devastating Obama and his presidential pen can be to agriculture and the growth and production of American food, and also food for the populations worldwide. And some of the things that are going on with global warming and the cutting back on fossil fuels, I mean, would devastate American agriculture. And I'd like you to expand a little bit on that, if you would, this morning, James.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And let's start, first of all, with livestock. The United Nations has published a document entitled Livestock's Long Shadow, in which it claims that cattle, beef, livestock in general, are more harmful, produce more global warming than transportation, SUVs, cars, everything else combined. And they said, according to this report, every step in the livestock process is extremely harmful to the climate, and they call for severe restrictions on livestock. Now, it's not just livestock. In terms of agriculture as a whole, agriculture is a very energy-intensive industry. If you're driving tractors or whatever, combines, you're going to be using a lot of fuel. Fertilizer uses the fertilizer itself requires a lot of natural gas, and what you're seeing is that the Obama administration that is doing its best to make electricity prices, quote-unquote, skyrocket. That's what President Obama promised when he ran for office in 2008. He would make electricity prices skyrocket. Those have a tremendous negative impact on agriculture, and that's just one aspect.
You know, James, I want to kind of tear this apart a little bit, what you just said about livestock and the United Nations. I'm really concerned about all aspects of agriculture, but my goodness sakes, what would they do? Basically, line up different plants, rendering plants, and do away and kill livestock to the point where we're just going to be eating berries and plants that we can grow in our backyard? What really is their reasoning and their purpose for what they want us to do with agriculture?
Well, the reasoning for a lot of it isn't even necessarily global warming. It's just that you have many people on the left who believe that people need to be vegans, that any type of people eating meat, eating animals is horrible, and this is an excuse and a means for doing so. So they're advocating whether it's meatless Mondays or other types of restrictions on livestock production and consumption without realizing that the benefits of protein that are going to be much more available through meat, through livestock production than through other means. In many ways, this is just people that have other agendas and finding a way through the all-encompassing global warming issue to try to shut it down.
Do they understand, these people, or is it just agenda-driven, all the byproducts of all the animal usages, and not only talking about the food and the protein, but all the byproducts that are assumed by the consuming public that would be taken off the market if all of a sudden they stopped animal production? Do they understand the severity of this?
Well, I really think they don't care, and I think another part of it is they consider any type of ranching or any type of land use that takes the land out of its natural state, quote-unquote natural state, they consider to be evil. Now, of course, these are people that have developed New York City and the surrounding region into something unrecognizable in relation to how nature was. I mean, can you even imagine what Manhattan Island looked like when the first European settlers arrived? I mean, you could not even recognize it, or even in the 1770s when there were Revolutionary War battles fought on Manhattan Island in open areas. But they want to be able to develop their coastal regions and their liberal enclaves, and then make sure that everybody else in flyover country can't do anything with their land, and try to make it as be of human impact and imprint as possible. And that's just simply not feasible.
Well, you said a minute ago they'd like us to all become vegans, and in order to be a vegan, you have to raise various crops, and that takes a lot of water. So do they understand that if they want us to become vegans and just live their lifestyle according to their rules, it's still going to take a lot of land in production, and especially a lot of water?
Right, and you make a great point, because for most of these people that are the environmental extremists or the global warming activists, don't really think through the consequences of what they're advocating. And many of these same people are the ones that are very stridently against biotechnology and genetic modification, in which we identify and precisely splice genes from one plant that, say, may give drought resistance to other plants, that may help them fight pests, insects, so that we don't have to use as many pesticides. Other genes that help resist the weeds. So what they do is they basically oppose any type of technology, anything that's related to humans, not understanding that what it means is that you're going to get less crop production, you're going to have to use and develop more land to produce the same amount of crops. And this is going to be counterproductive to what they say they are supporting, which is conservation and less human imprint.
Has there ever been any panel discussions, James, to where maybe three of these people versus three people that really understand agriculture and its production for the world? Have they ever sat down and really had a panel discussion so that we could show the world how absolutely insane some of these radicals are on global warming?
It's pretty rare that they will sit down and have such a conversation, but I will say that last spring I was fortunate enough to participate in such a panel discussion in Yerington, Nevada. There is a Lucy Retchell who owns a cattle ranch there, sponsored a forum with her cattle auction, and we had a vegan there who was advocating for veganism. I spoke. We had a few other people, a couple of university professors who were talking about the various ways that agriculture, livestock production, what the effects are on the environment, what the claims are, what the truth is. It was a very interesting discussion.
Should we try to do more of that and basically try to force them into a corner to where the public would understand what kind of people they are and what their reasoning is?
Well, I think that would be fantastic, and I think especially where you have folks who depend on agriculture for a living, it would be very helpful to be able to get the message out about what is really going on in this country. One of the topics that I found fascinating in our discussion in Arrington, Nevada last year was one of the participants was calling for some mandatory, basically mandatory non-food waste practices, because she talked about how horrible it was that food is getting thrown away. And well, the point of the matter is, sometimes I don't want to have to drive 3 miles to the grocery store each day to get my meal. I'm going to have to make decisions on how much food and what I'm going to get, and I'm going to err in favor of getting more rather than less. If it makes sense for me to have some food that I'm going to have to throw away, well, that's not necessarily a horrible thing. I'm spending my resources that way.
Absolutely.
But, the big government, nanny-state folks, they want to impose all sorts of restrictions, limitations, etc. on our behavior, including issues like that. But people don't think through what the consequences would be if we had such restrictions.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question. Caller, please go ahead. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
That's fine. My curiosity is they talk about they want everybody to be vegan. Has there been any study at all whatsoever with 100% scientific proof, non-biased, that veganism is better than eating meat? The protein you get from meat, in my opinion, cannot be reproduced in any synthetic lab or by any plant.
All right, I'll have him answer that on the air. Thank you for your call. Go ahead, if you would, please, James.
I'm not aware of the studies on that particular topic. It's tangential to what I normally work on in terms of energy and environment issues. But one thing I will say is having some friends who are vegetarians, I don't know if I have any vegan friends, but vegetarian friends, and they often talk about how if their diet is done right, how they can still get all the proteins and everything that's essential to their diet, but they have to be very diligent to make sure that they do it right, that they mix the beans and the rice and make sure they have enough of it. And sometimes you get tired of beans and rice and other things. And there really is a risk when you cut off one essential component of your dietary regimen that you are going to be depriving your body of some of the nutrients and what it really relies upon to grow, to have everything it needs to stay healthy. So you have to be very careful if you're going to do that, and I think that's a concern.
James, since last Saturday, this weekend, I went through the various newspapers I subscribed to, and I found over 13 major articles regarding global warming. Each and every article condemned those of us that weren't believers in global warming or climate change, and all promoted President Obama and what he's trying to do for climate change with all the cutbacks on fossil fuels, etc. It seems like this administration has a built-in audience with the press to try to convert everybody over to his side. How can we fight back?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's very useful, I think, is taking one article, and actually this was more of a fundraising letter from the Environmental Defense Fund. And what they did is they put together their top 10 global warming messages, and the title of their mailer was Top 10 Global Warming Effects That May Shock You. I received a copy in the mail, and they had their 10 assertions, and they were all scientifically garbage. So what I did is I wrote a rebuttal. It's called Top 10 Global Warming Lies That May Shock You. I published it on my column at Forbes.com. And I just verbatim the 10 assertions from the Environmental Defense Fund. I don't twist. I don't leave anything out. There it is. And then I present the facts to show what's really going on. So I encourage listeners to do an internet search. They can do Taylor, Hartland, Forbes, Lies, EDF, any combination of that should pull it up. And show that to your friends, show that to your neighbors, show that to your family. There you see, when they put together, when they have the opportunity to frame the issue, present their best information and facts for the issues that they choose. But then when someone has an opportunity to show what the real facts are, people can see for themselves what's going on. And I think it's pretty clear that what is going on is this is merely a propaganda campaign that is completely contradicted by sound science.
James, final thought here this morning on climate change or global warming, whatever you wish to call it. But are many of the people that were firm believers of climate change and global warming, they seem to be slipping away and leaving the flock. And it seems like a lot of the original climate change, global warming has been diminished because a lot of folks have proven their point to be wrong. Is there an opportunity you see in the next couple of years before Obama leaves office that we can diminish this control aspect that this administration wants over us just purely with global warming?
I think there's a chance for that. I think one of the scientists that really is leading the way, Judith Curry at Georgia Tech, she was very much on board with the global warming alarmists in the United Nations papers on this topic, and she would point out small things that she had concerns with, questions about, and just for doing that, she was vilified. And being vilified for just making posing a few questions, making a few comments on small matters, induced her to look at the issue more in depth, more comprehensively, and now she's becoming more and more identified, and properly so, as a skeptic. I think that as time goes by, as the facts come out, unfortunately, some people try to entrench in their points of view, not realizing that if you present a theory and it's proven wrong, it doesn't make you a bad scientist. In fact, you're doing a scientific service by eliminating one possible explanation. That's what scientists do.
Absolutely.
I think over time, the truth will come out. There are enough ethical scientists that will look at the issues and the assertions accurately, truthfully, ethically, and then come to the conclusion that we're not causing this global warming crisis that's been asserted.
Absolutely. Real quick, caller, last question. I've only got 2 minutes left. Go real fast.
Yeah, speaking, the Canadian government seems to have kind of went full circle, so to speak, in some areas. I'm not saying all of them, but they encourage grazing up there. They manage their forests, something that they're still fighting here, and whatever else they might be doing up there. I was just wondering what you thought about that. I'll hang up.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, if you would, please, James.
Well, I'm not that well versed on what's happening with Canadian land use for their public lands. I will say that here in the United States, the multiple use of federal lands, because the federal government owns so much land in the western third of the country, and it's not supposed to be that way. Mm-hmm. And what they're doing as time goes by, it's more and more being distorted for solar power, wind power, and then shutting down, whether it's grazing, whether it's conventional energy production, whatever it is that liberals oppose. And that is an argument for more sanity and more balance in land use, or better yet, maybe some privatization, or at least returning the lands to the states where they were supposed to go in the first place.
James, tell us a little bit real quick about the Heartland Institute. How can people find out more about what you're doing and what the Heartland Institute represents?
Well, the Heartland Institute, we are a public policy organization, or a think tank as it's commonly known. Our mission is to discover, develop, and promote the market ideas, solutions to societal challenges that advance the cause of free markets and individual liberty. And people can learn more about the Heartland Institute at heartland.org.
All right. James, thank you so very much for coming on the program. James Taylor with the Heartland Institute. God bless you, my friend. I'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent conversation with James Taylor with the Heartland Institute, and talking about the phoniness of climate change and global warming, and really pushed by this administration, the Obama administration. It was really funny, too. I'll just share a quick story with you. I went through USA Today, the Times News, Wall Street Journal, and what other paper? I can't remember the other one, and cut out all these stories about global warming and how we are the stupid ones because we're not jumping on the bandwagon. We're the only ones with any sanity left. And we're going to have more on this coming up on Thursday on climate change, global warming, and the Obama administration using it as a source of control over the people. So stay tuned for that. Right now, I want to remind you, too, that on Thursdays we have a program segment called School Days in Cassia County, and I really, really appreciate our sponsors. One is the Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and if you're expecting a brand spanking new baby, they've got all the baby clothes and all the baby material and all the cribs and everything. Oh, my goodness. And gift wrapping is free, always. And they got all kinds of spring dresses and spring clothes at a Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And don't forget also the other sponsor is Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. You know, whether it's carpal tunnel syndrome and surgery needed for that, or whether it's colonoscopies, knee surgeries, etc., please contact the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Number to call for the information, and also they can save you a lot of money. Call 677-8888. 677-8888, locally owned by Dr. Joe Peterson. And along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center and a Child's World, they bring you School Days in Cassia County. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with our next guest. Don't go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Running a little bit late here this morning, but quickly I want to get these words in. Don't forget Lennox and Ramsey's. Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Ramsey Heating and Electric, helping you save money with Lennox. And don't forget at Ramsey's, they provide warm winters and cool summers. Don't forget, of course, on Thursdays, Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul presents the program called Gardening for Idiots, named after me. I'm not much of a gardener. I'll tell you what I'm learning, though, because Vicky's a good teacher. And that gardening show, send all your questions to my email, zebattheranch@hotmail.com, and we'll have them on there for Thursday at 10:30, Vicky's Country Garden. Real quick, also, I want to remind you, Duck Uglies is going to have a grand reopening coming up this Friday, May 1st. Holy smokes, don't miss it. You heard Jack Bates a little bit earlier this morning, the new owner, new manager of Duck Ugly at 163 Highway 30 in Burley. Oh, are they going to have fun on Friday night? You better believe it. They're going to have a lot of roast pig with all the trimmings. They're going to have raffles, including one for a flat screen TV. It's only $10 a plate, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and it includes the raffle ticket. Holy cow, starting at 5 p.m. on this Friday, May 1st, music with Ned Carter, and then Barton and Bowler. Woo, boy, lots of fun and great eating at Duck Uglies, 163 Highway 30 in Burley. We'll see you there at the grand opening. Right now, let's go to the phone lines, and we have with us Tim Graham with the Media Research Center. Good morning, Tim. How are you?
I'm still getting a hold of him, sir.
Okay. Hopefully you'll get him in the next couple of minutes, and I appreciate it, Wills. Thank you very much. Trying to get a hold of Tim Graham this morning and talk a little bit about MSNBC and some of their low-class interviewers that they have, including, of course, Al Sharpton and many others. And one person, I'll probably say the name wrong in pronunciation. His name is Torrey Neblet, and that's who Tim's going to be talking about here a little bit later on this morning. Hopefully in the next couple of minutes, as soon as Wheels gets a hold of him. Tomorrow on the program, real quick, we want to remind you, Dr. History will be on at 10:06. A lot of people wanted to know if we were going to discuss his trip to China again, and we will. We will do some more questions and answers about his trip to China from 2 weeks ago, so tune in tomorrow morning at 10:06. And then, also, Brigitte Gabriel is coming to Idaho, and she's going to be here on the 7th over in the Boise Valley area, actually Treasure Valley area. And my wife and I are going up, and we're going to have one of the pastors that was involved in bringing her on the program May 7th, and we're going to have her on the program tomorrow morning. So be sure and tune in for that. Wheels, have we got our guest already?
No, we do not. Would you have a secondary number for him?
I do not have a secondary number. That's the only one I got. Let me review the number with you real quick. 571 267-3466.
Yes, sir. I do have that correct. It just keeps going to his voicemail, but I did leave him a voicemail and let him know.
All right.
So hopefully he does call.
All right, Deanne, we'll keep trying to reach him by email while you're sitting there trying to get him on the phone. And until then, give us a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We'll talk about any subject you want to talk about this morning for the remainder of this half hour. Gee, I like it when people don't show up on time. And it kind of puts us in a bad position knowing that we were scheduled to call and talk to them, and then that falls through the cracks. So give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I mentioned earlier this morning, and I want to reiterate this and give us a call about anything you want to talk about, that the Farm Days, Pioneer Farm Days, is going to take place over in Declo, I believe at Ray Bagby's. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me. And that's going to be on Friday, May 8th and Saturday, May 9th from 10 in the morning till 4 p.m. in the afternoon at 950 East Declo. That's the only address I have right there. And it's going to be a fantastic event for the children and family and friends of all ages, and it's free to the public, fun for the whole family, and it's basically sponsored by the National Pioneer Hall of Fame. And there's going to be all kinds of activity over there. They're going to have rides in covered wagons, and they've got 6 Pioneer buildings to view and experience. They're going to have Dutch oven cooking from 11 to 3. They've got a blacksmith shop over there, a carriage shop, restored Pioneer vehicles, spinning wheel, farriers. We'll show all the horseshoeing. And for more information on these events going on May 8th and 9th, don't forget, call 431-4661. That number again, 431-4661. Pioneer Farm Days going on in Declo, presented by the National Pioneer Hall of Fame. Going to be a lot of fun, and Deanne and I are sure going to try to get over there and enjoy that. All right, let's get some calls in here. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I'd love to hear what you have to say. It'd do 2 things. Number 1, we could hear what you have to say, and number 2, it would fill in for me because our guest is not showing up on time. And hopefully we can get a hold of Tim Graham and get him on the air here in the next couple of minutes. Until then, please give me a call. While we're waiting for your calls that I'm sure is coming in, I think we'll do our weather forecast real quick. And the weather is brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats. They sell taste one bite at a time, and they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They've got that $300 tax return meat package, beef and pork and chicken and cheese. Oh, it's delicious. I mean, all kinds of goodies in there. And we're going to tell you more about that in a few minutes. But right now, here's the weather with Michael Rogers Weather.
Hello, everyone. Michael Rogers with Zeb of the Ranch. Got a nice week of nice weather, starting with a cool Monday, and by the time you get toward the end of the week, you'll see temperatures up in the low to mid-70s. Sunny today, clear tonight, all the way through the week, partly cloudy on Wednesday, but otherwise you got a nice week of weather, a nice, gorgeous, brand spanking new week of you, me, and weather. By the way, I'll be coming to Idaho with my photography. I'll be coming up next week. In fact, I'll be hitting town next Tuesday. Interested in photography services from the point of headshots to portrait photographs for Mother's Day coming up, even senior portraits. You can get a hold of me once I get to Idaho. You can give me a call. In fact, all you have to do is just look at the Facebook page. You can get up with me from there, or you can call me at 702-250-2114. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. And again, brought to you this hour by Scarro's Meats, and they're located at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number 324-7657. And that tax return meat package, oh my goodness, you get beef, like ground beef, patties, rump roast, New York steaks, pork, you get all the bacon and the brats and the wrapped tenderloin, and then a chicken, oh my goodness, and cheese, all of this and more with that tax return meat package from Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, selling taste one bite at a time. As I said, we were waiting for Tim Graham, and what did we find out? Did you find another number? I'll tell you what, Wheels, are you right there by your microphone?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's try this number. Let's try 703-819-8256 for Tim Graham. Would you do that for me?
Yes, sir, will do.
All right, call me right, or let me know right away if he's on the line.
Will do.
All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline, and we'll talk about any topic you want to. Where did this come from? Jimmy and Kate Edwards, they always send us interesting stuff. Things that they trust more than Hillary Clinton. I haven't proofread this, so stand by. Mexican tap water, they trust more than Hillary Clinton. A rattlesnake with a pet me sign, they trust more than Hillary Clinton. O.J. Simpson showing him his knife collection, they trust more than Hillary Clinton. Michael Jackson's doctor, they trust more than Hillary Clinton. An Obama nuclear deal with Iran, they trust more than Hillary Clinton. A Palestinian on a motorcycle, they trust more than Hillary Clinton. I'll read some more of those tomorrow. Yes, Wheels, go ahead.
He is on the phone.
All right, sir. Appreciate that very much. The lost is found. Good morning, Tim Graham. How are you?
Good morning.
We evidently had misplaced where we could get a hold of you, and I'm glad you're on the air right now. Tell us a little bit about some of the lowlifes, one in particular at MSNBC by the name of Terry Neblet. What about this guy? He comes across as maybe somebody that you really can't trust.
Yeah, what you have now is a whole set of people at MSNBC who are, rage against the rich getting away with tax breaks, and then you discover, Touré owes $60,000 in back taxes. Melissa Harris Perry, who hosts on the weekends, owes $80,000 in back taxes. And of course, as we know, Reverend Al Sharpton is forever owing taxes to the government through his shady nonprofit group. So you just have a set of these MSNBC stars who are not paying their taxes.
What boils down here, Tim, is MSNBC just basically so far left and so far in the bottom of the bucket that they will employ this kind of a low-class interviewer, whether it's Touré or whether it's Al Sharpton, etc. Why? Why are they spending money on these people that really are not your first-class citizens?
Well, Touré is what used to be an analyst on CNN, but he came into doing these TV news spots by talking about, pop music. He wasn't brought in as a political expert. He is a pop culture guy. I think that they were looking to, when they created the show The Cycle, where they were just blatantly copying The Five on Fox, but also in a weird way almost copying The View on ABC, because, you don't bring Touré in there to discuss global geopolitics, Right. He's there to discuss rap music or something.
But he gets away with some unquestionable type, really slanderous comments. One that I was reading about, I did not know this until I picked up the cheat sheet on this morning's interview, is that he had called Fox News' Megyn Kelly a white supremacist. Talk to us a little bit more about this. Why? Why the sensationalism?
Yeah. Well, this is a network that constantly traffics in notions like there's a war on women, and they just love it. And obviously, yes, when you criticize President Obama, there's always the suspicion that you don't like black people. It has to be said. So for him to call Megyn Kelly a white supremacist is just plain crazy. But again, Fox News gets a reputation because it favors law and order, and it opposes President Obama, and they might even say outrageous things like, well, maybe people should pull up their pants when they go out on the street.
Mm-hmm. You know, let me ask you this about Al Sharpton. This man, I would consider him to be one of the lowlifes in any and all newscasts, and he has his own television program with MSNBC, but yet over the years, he has gained popularity with the Obama administration since 2008, and basically has an open-door policy to go in and see President Obama anytime he wants, and he's in arrears over possibly close to $5 million in back taxes. How? How does he get away with that, and other people are trying to scramble without going to prison?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole question about Al Sharpton's career in politics, you know. How does anyone think he's effective? How does anyone, certainly in this case, how does anyone think he's a capable television broadcaster? I mean, I think that people know the guy has trouble, you know, pronouncing names. He has trouble with the English language. Why would you put a person on that for an hour-long show? It's one thing to have him on for 5 minutes as a guest. I think the question we've had is about the time that Comcast was trying to merge with NBC Universal. Sharpton was somebody they wanted to go after. And I just have the distinct feeling that somewhere in there, Obama said to Comcast, you give Al Sharpton a show and we'll approve your merger.
Is MSNBC, as far as a trying to be financially stable network, where are they at right now? I mean, I've heard so many things about they're on real shaky ground, their audience is minimal. What is the actual status of MSNBC? With the exception of their morning show, with the Morning Joe show, there's really nothing on there that really is newsworthy. Am I right or wrong?
Well, even the Morning Joe show is behind CNN in the ratings. Their ratings have gotten worse and worse in recent years. I mean, you can't say that Comcast is hurting for money, the parent company, but it's certainly true that the news channel itself has just been hemorrhaging viewers. I mean, they kind of built themselves on a model and said, let's be all radical left-wing talk in the Bush years. And, you know, that runs out of time under Obama. You know, there's just everybody's gotten tired of the formula there of constantly saying, and today, the conservatives are still racist against Obama, you know. So I think that what you've seen since they put this Andrew Lack in charge is they're going to try to actually do a little more news on there. You're going to see some segments on there that aren't strictly about politics. You know, they had one a weekend segment the other day on the NCAA basketball tournament. So they're trying to do something to get the ratings turned around. I wouldn't have any optimism.
You know, Tim, let me go to the other side of the spectrum, and you're in the position to know more about this than we are out here in the hinterland. Let's go to the other side with Fox News. And I've made the statement on my program many times, and feel free to chastise me if I need it, but I think Fox News would be better served, in my opinion, at moving O'Reilly to a different time slot. I think the real news and the real observations of the news are made with Megyn Kelly, Greta Van Susteren, and Hannity. And quite frankly, the pugnacious attitude of O'Reilly, I think, is wearing thin on a lot of people. Go ahead and tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, in recent years, since they put Megyn Kelly in there at 9, it used to be that O'Reilly was the undisputed king of the ratings, and I think there are weeks now where Megyn Kelly beats him. I think that he's become so iconic in that time slot. I don't see Fox News deciding that they're going to change it up. Obviously, the moving around that they did has been successful. Putting Greta at 7, putting Hannity at 10, and putting Megyn at 9, it was a smart move on their part. I always thought that Greta Van Susteren was a better choice for that 7 o'clock hour. So, and Hannity was the one that I think the show needed to be freshened up a bit. So but the whole block is doing well. The whole block just massacres the competition.
Right.
Still does. And I think, the real question we ought to have in that 8 o'clock slot is, when is MSNBC and CNN ever going to find somebody who can actually compete with O'Reilly? Because Chris Hayes, his ratings are really atrocious against O'Reilly.
Did it surprise you last week when Ed Schultz from the Ed Show basically challenged Obama to a debate over what he's doing politically? I was really surprised that he did that. What are your thoughts?
Well, they have seemed to get a little bit more feisty about Obama, and I think on Ed Schultz's case, the one spot where he's going to depart from them is on labor union type issues. That's where he feels like he's Joe Lunchbucket, and he's got to stand for the little guy on these trade deals. That's about the spot where it's the spot where a lot of left wingers think that Obama's too pro-business, if you can imagine that.
Okay. Tim, anything else you want to share with us about what's going on in the media as far as journalism concerned? Do you think that the story with Clinton and the Clinton Foundations is going to go down and not be as of importance in the next couple of weeks? It's going to be short-lived. What do you think about Hillary Clinton and the money situation?
Well, I'm always pessimistic that a Clinton scandal is going to last in the liberal media's attention span. But Peter Schweitzer's book comes out on May 4. I think that the news interest continues until the book comes out and people have a chance to read the book. He was obviously on yesterday. Peter Schweitzer was on with Savannah Guthrie on Today this morning, getting a lot of hostility from the liberal media, but at least he's getting on to discuss it.
All right. Well, Tim Graham, I want to say how much I appreciate it. I'm glad we finally caught you by the telephone this morning. Thank you so much. And believe me, when it comes to anything regarding the media, we'll call you because you're the man with the knowledge. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Tim Graham from the Media Research Center, and talking about some of the, I'll just come right out and call them lowlifes with MSNBC, this Touré Neblett and Al Sharpton. This Neblett, some of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about with Tim this morning. He claimed conservatives were successful at demonizing immigrants. He's come out and, like I said, he hinted that Megyn Kelly was a white supremacist. Let's see, what else has he done here? He wanted to have more about 911, and he claims that he didn't believe a plane could have crashed into the Pentagon on 911. This guy is something else. And Al Sharpton, being almost over $5 million in arrears on his taxes, still, to this moment, this day, can walk in the White House and sit down in the Oval Office and have an audience with the president basically any time and every time that he wants. It's unbelievable. A tax cheat and a tax fraud like Al Sharpton has that kind of prestige. Hey, don't forget about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh my goodness sakes, they've got a great big spring tire sale going on, and that big spring tire sale involves all their top tires, like the Eclipse tire for your passenger cars and the Open Country AT2 for your pickups and SUVs, and all their tires, of course, with the best tire value promise in the industry. Free peace of mind tire protection and lifetime tire and mileage care. Convenient credit, too, for tires and services. And when I say services, the best in brake service, the very best, along with, of course, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and the best in batteries. But service always reigns supreme. They are the best at what they do. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, and John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, our main sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Let's take a look and see what's going to be on for tomorrow. We have Jared Meyer. This young man is sharp. We've had him on the program many, many times in the past, thanks to our good friend Casey Givens. And Jared's going to give us a little discussion about what the millennials, the younger generation, the 20-ish type students are thinking about going into this election. And then we're going to have Dave Dave McGarrah, Pastor Dave McGarrah, come on the program and talk about Brigitte Gabriel. And then, of course, Dr. History with more of an update on the Chinese trip. And again, I want to say thank you to the listeners over in China for Dr. History segment, the nice gift that they sent us. We really appreciate it. So we'll be back here again tomorrow morning at 8:06 and ride the horse for 3 hours right here on Zeb at the Ranch, and invite you to give us your calls, your thoughts, etc. And K-Bar 1230 a.m. is our main point. And then also, if you're out of the area and want to listen, you can just go to zebbell.com, click on the audio button, and there we are, zebbell.com. Until tomorrow morning at 8:06, we'll see you then. God bless, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be.